The obvious strategy in crypto is to buy low and sell high, but what does this actually mean? It means to buy when nobody is interested in the token because there is correlation between price and attention. Currently, the price of Dogecoin is rising. The question is, how much higher can it go? Let's have a look at relative valuation charts. Let's have a look at the data most people are not considering. Have a look at this overview of the different categories within crypto. The best performing crypto category today is Elon Musk inspired tokens. It's up 16%. And of course, within that category, Dogecoin is the largest of the assets. Now, this is how most people look at price charts in crypto. It's not useful at all. This is Dogecoin just in US dollars on a linear scale. Sometimes things are going up, sometimes they go down, and currently in the last few days we are going up again. But a chart like this is not really useful. First of all, we don't really know what happened in the early days. Thus, moving from a linear scale to a logarithmic scale makes a lot of sense. Now we can actually see what kind of percentage changes has Dogecoin made over the last 11 years. But even a chart like this is not sufficient, because when we get into an altcoin, we always want to get more performance, right? We take on more risk by buying Dogecoin over, say, Bitcoin or Ethereum, and that additional risk should get compensated. So in order to have risk-adjusted returns, more risk should mean more return. And this is just a comparison to the US dollar, right? It doesn't help us. It's better to look at this relative to Bitcoin, for example. And then we get this chart. Now, isn't that much more useful? Most people look at Dogecoin in this way. I prefer to look at Dogecoin in this way. Suddenly, we see how the bottoms align somewhat. We also see how the tops align somewhat. When Dogecoin tops out at a particular price, it's not that much anymore of a surprise. When Dogecoin bottoms at a certain level, it's also not that much anymore of a surprise. It's much harder to determine where Dogecoin bottoms and where it tops when we just look at US dollar prices, even on the logarithmic chart. But relative to Bitcoin, suddenly we've got somewhat of a clear picture. And so already on this chart, we're going to look at something more refined in a second, but already on this chart, we can see that maybe the current rally in Dogecoin hasn't yet finished. We might see another outperformance of Doge of around 66%, if history is any indication. Now there's a problem comparing Dogecoin with Bitcoin, because Bitcoin tends to outperform most altcoins right now because of all of the inflows that come from traditional finance, right? Wall Street is buying Bitcoin, the Bitcoin treasury companies is buying Bitcoin. All of that accumulation means that Bitcoin dominance is rising. So Bitcoin as a fraction of all of crypto is going up, thus most altcoins tend to underperform now. So that's this chart over here, the Bitcoin dominance. Since September of 2022, Bitcoin tends to do better than the rest. And so it's not really a surprise that Dogecoin didn't do as well as Bitcoin in the last years, and that we saw lower highs along the way. And so I think a better measure than comparing Dogecoin to Bitcoin is to just look at Dogecoin dominance. Most people only know about Bitcoin dominance, right? How important is Bitcoin within all of crypto? But we can do this for pretty much any cryptocurrency. So we can look at Dogecoin dominance. How large is the Dogecoin market cap relative to all of crypto? And then we get this chart. And I believe this is incredibly useful. Just have a look at how nicely those tops align, how well those bottoms align as well, and where we are currently with that recent rally. This top here was no surprise at all. Feel free to check out the videos at the time on this channel. Many people were calling for Dogecoin to $1 at the time, but using the dominance chart, it was clear that that's a very tall order. And again, we have bottomed at very similar levels to the past. And now we are going up, and now Dogecoin still has potential to outperform the rest of crypto by more than 100%. Now, this is not all just retrospective. This is not all just theoretical. I actually made money with exactly those kinds of approaches. I've covered Dogecoin regularly on this channel, and I invite you to have a look at those older videos. I invite you to actually do this for all kinds of crypto influencers. Check out what they said about a particular cryptocurrency at certain points in time. Did they call for the right turnarounds, or are they always just talking about rising prices all the time, despite potentially an asset being heated? Here, have a look at this, right? This was published 216 days ago. The video did outperform the average video a bit, and the title of the video was "Buy the Dogecoin Crash," because at the time we were already going down, but obviously there was still some more way to go. This was published on the 20th of December 2024. And I did enter a short position in Doge. And I did this with a relative valuation trade in relation to Bitcoin, and I made money that way, right? This is from the Gerhard Trade channel. This comes directly from the premium membership of this channel, where I share all my trades. Yes, I know Dogecoin's market cap is already very large, but a lot of the supply of Dogecoin is actually held by the centralized exchanges. So it's not necessarily the retail investor that's driving the prices here. Instead, it is short-term leverage. Now, in the last 30 days, we saw an appreciation of Dogecoin of almost 50%. And that's possible because the inflation of Dogecoin isn't actually too bad. It's a linear supply expansion. 5 billion tokens get minted every year. And so at the current level of 150 billion, that equates to an inflation rate of 3.3%. So not too bad. But really, it's short-term capital. It's leverage that's currently driving the prices. Many people bet on the altcoins now using perpetual futures. Perpetual futures have the advantage that getting in and out of a token tends to be pretty cheap because slippage is low, transaction fees are low as well. It has a disadvantage that we can't hold a token over the long term. But if you're just short-term speculating, using perpetual futures is actually more effective than using the spot market. And so most people are betting on rising prices of Dogecoin. Currently, the longs have to pay the shorts a lot of financing costs to get more exposure to the price. And just have a look at how the Doge price correlates with the open interest, or how many bets are currently on the price. When the open interest is going up, so when there's more and more bets on the price, then the spot market tends to follow as well. And we are somewhat high, but not yet at the levels of January of this year. So there is more room to grow, which is in line with the Dogecoin dominance chart, right? Where there's still more potential upside. Right now with the rally, it's mainly the shorts that get liquidated. That's probably going to continue for a while until we hit the 40-50 cent mark. And then things will turn around again. Probably. I don't have a crystal ball either, right? I'm simply just betting on approaches that used to work well in the past. And instead of using US dollar charts, I think it's very useful to use the dominance chart instead, because it gives us a somewhat reliable trading range. Now, I'm trying to approach this channel here slightly differently to other crypto YouTubers. Most crypto YouTubers, they take money from other crypto projects, or maybe they buy into a small crypto project. They have some vested interest and then afterwards promote it on the channel, and then potentially with all of that additional interest, which pushes up the price, they then dump on the following. I never do this. I never promote any individual cryptocurrency that I previously bought. I also never take any money from any crypto project. I try to be as neutral as possible. I try to have no conflict of interest here. Most other channels also don't show their trading history, as in how successful are they. And they're also not willing to share the trades in real time, maybe allow for copy trading. But I'm willing to do this. This is my personal return, so that's the black line, relative to if I had just dollar cost averaged into Bitcoin. That's the light gray line. This is a monthly chart, so this is roughly 4 years of data, a bit less than that. And this outperformance here comes from relative valuation bets, right? We talked about this several times on the channel. Most altcoins tend to do worse than Bitcoin most of the time. And we can make money from that, right? From all of that token inflation. When the insiders dump on the retail investor, when the KOLs dump on the retail investor, when the early venture capitalists, when they get their token allocation and then dump on the retail investor, then there's actually a chance to make money from that by betting on the altcoins to do worse compared to Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana. because Bitcoin, Ethereum and Solana doesn't have that much token inflation. All those smaller crappy altcoins do, and so long term they tend to just do worse. And so I made a lot of that outperformance with borrowing and lending platforms. So I borrowed a bad altcoin and then swapped it into Bitcoin, Ethereum and Solana. That's how I made this delta. I then moved over the strategy to perpetual futures. I did this for 2.5 months. And that worked out even better. I did this with some experimental money, 40K, and it returned almost 50% over those 2.5 months. Of course, there's some volatility in this, but still 50%. And so as I did this and as I shared my trades in real time with the premium members, I got more and more requests. Can't I just open a capital pool? I deposit to that pool and you do the trading for me. And I finally just started that. So this is now 6 days ago. We started the copy trading vault. It's already up 3.5%, but of course we don't know how this develops long term. We are now moving more capital, but I'm offering this to the annual subscribers of premium. So there's a dedicated tutorial how to deposit to the Bitcoin strategy copy trading vault. That's on the platform called Hyperliquid. It's an 18-minute video. It explains everything step by step. And then you don't have to follow the individual trades that I share, but instead you just get the exact same performance that I get. Both the gains, but also potentially the hard times. Nobody knows how this is going long term. It worked very well with borrowing and lending platforms. It worked very well on my first test initially. And I'm working hard that it will continue to work as I'm trading with your capital. But yeah, you can still execute the trades yourself. I'm still sharing this all in real time in premium. You can also discuss potential opportunities with the community. Right here are some example trades. But the active approach is for people that don't have as much capital, but that do have some time. So that's for the monthly membership. That's currently at $125 per month. If you don't have the time, then you can simply subscribe for the yearly membership. Then I will send you all the information how to enter the copy trading. And that's for people that have more capital, but of course less time. The yearly membership, by the way, also saves some money, $250 per year. So you're only paying for 10 out of 12 months. If it's your first time here, feel free to subscribe. I publish this regularly. A like would be very much appreciated as well. It helps the channel grow. See you next time on YouTube or see you in premium. Cheers.